Hello everyone. I recently met Sebastian Kaltz. He's a business data analyst by profession. We spoke about a tool called Knime. Knime is a data analytics platform which is open source and it's an ETL tool. We also compared Knime with Alteryx. Basically, what are the advantages of Alteryx and what are the disadvantages of Knime and vice versa. And if anybody wants to learn Knime, I put a lot of information in the comments section below. What is Knime? Where can you learn about it? Where can you download it? And a lot of different information which can help you start with it. Hope you like this video. It was a great discussion. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to one more video from Teachy Bytes. Today I have Sebastian, who is a data architect, data engineer, and has worked on many ETL tools, and he's been in this area of ETL and data engineering for a very long time. I've recently come known about him, and rather than me introducing him, why don't I have Sebastian introduce himself? Hi, Sebastian. How are you doing today?
Hi, Raghav. Thanks. I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Why don't you introduce about you to our viewers, Sebastian? Who are you? What do you do?
Okay, so actually, I from the job title, I'm still a project manager for warehousing, but more I'm transforming now to more like a business data analyst. So for some years now, as you mentioned, I work a lot with Alteryx and Tableau, and in private, I also use Knime in my private machine. So yeah, because for play around data, then Knime is also a little bit cheaper than Alteryx is. But anyhow, they both have their strengths. So, and I'm responsible for the global warehouse controlling for our warehouse network for large gas turbine parts. So I'm working for Siemens Energy.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is how this whole
we going in the, let me jump in. So for the discussion of what we want to do today. So you said you're trying to play with Knime recently, and you already have experience with Alteryx. Let me ask this question: what is Knime?
Knime is also an ETL tool, but it's an open source ETL tool. So this means it comes out of charge. So you will be charged when you want to use the server. So when you want to schedule things. But for example, if you want to get used to these ETL tools or want to do some basic data analytics or even advanced data analytics, then you can use Knime as a good substitute. I mean, you can also use Python or R, but there you need coding, right? And I know a lot of people are afraid of coding when they start to do their controllings, right? So then it's a good alternative because then you have your workflow, you see what's happening there, so you have a good flow. And you still can use Python and R if you want. So you have Python and R modules. And what's really nice, it's on an Eclipse Based so that you can use it on any machine. So either Windows, Unix, or Mac. I mean, it's also Unix, I know, but so you can use it on every machine, on every operating system you're using. So that's quite suitable.
So Knime I can say is an ETL tool or a data engineering tool where you can of course use Python and R modules within building it, but you can see a visual workflow about how your ETL process is working, right? That's the primary objective of ETL. So I think that is what even Alteryx does, right?
Correct. Alteryx does this. There's some advantages with Alteryx, some advantages with Knime. As usual, you know, open source means when you look from a visual perspective, Alteryx looks really nice and fancy and the new design. And if you go to Knime, it's like the Eclipse environment. So it looks like, yeah, open source. You know, you get the feeling from open source. It's not meant. I mean, it's fine, but yeah, Alteryx also pays a lot for maybe graphic designers or so. So that's
a very good point. So being over, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, but for open source, I mean, if there's someone who's graphic designing and want to, yeah, put some effort in there, so you can do it easily, right? So,
right. So if an open source graphic designer comes and helps Knime, probably it might look better. Exact. Okay. So in a nutshell, can we say that Knime and Alteryx can do similar jobs
It's just the
Right.
UI user interface might be a little different.
User, yes, right, correct. So what
Okay.
you can read in Excel files in both, you can do forecasting, so forecasting trees or random trees or whatever. So you can use these fancy forecasting methods. You can use basic functions. So yeah, everything's same.
So the main advantage of Knime being is open sourcing,
Hmm?
right? So
Right.
if somebody wants to download this and play with it, is it production grade, or is it, do you think, is it still in a very normal stage, or it's so mature that it can handle any kind of ETL methodologies?
Yeah, I guess it's mature. So because it's already in place for some big companies. So there was also discussion that we introduced this to Siemens Energy back in the
Mhm.
days. But as we were already so far with Alteryx, we said, okay, we continue with Alteryx. So it's also enterprise ready, I'd say. I mean, there's
Okay.
still some things you probably need to adjust to your enterprise
Correct.
structure, or maybe that you need to discuss with Knime, but they are open to do so.
Okay. So how tough is to learn Knime? So you've been playing on Knime. So what's your experience with Knime till now? Is it a little complex? Is it easy?
Oh, that's hard to tell because it depends on the person who's trying to learn it. What is the background? You know, if you're familiar with programming, for example, then maybe with all this formula you get easy into it because you already know syntax like if else whatever,
Mm-hmm.
while
Mm-hmm.
loops, for loops. So you get the concept. You also know maybe Eclipse because of Java programming or Android programming, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So for one starting with Excel, I guess Alteryx and Knime are hard to learn. I mean, not hard to learn, but they need more effort
Might
to
be
learn. But
difficult to learn. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but there are good resources out there in YouTube or also on the official websites. They have trainings free of charge most of the time. So so this is good. But I guess maybe if you're really into it, so and you let's say you work every day an hour, so then maybe 1 month, 2 months you are already quite advanced, so that you can really do not just read in Excel files, but you can do much more.
Okay. So I think it's a very good way you put it actually. So if the person has a programming mindset, right? The mindset is already there. Probably picking up Knime is something on the job or the workflow is easier. But if they're first need to get into a mindset and then from there pick up, they might need some time, right?
Right.
But they'll pick it up over a period of time.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's really like you do exercise, sport exercise or whatever, right? So you just need to start somewhere, start with something small. So like reading in an Excel file and do a simple math formula, like adding column A plus B, and then say, okay, this is C and C is the new column. So
Yes.
something like this, right? So
correct. So if somebody needs to have Knime as a basic, we'll go into future points differently because we are in the learning aspect here. So I heard about you spoke about Python, you spoke about R, you spoke about IDE, Eclipse, and you spoke about columns in Excel. So looks like what are the kind of um, and now we are talking the persona. What we are talking is a student, like an engineering student who wants to learn Knime because it's open source. They want to do some school projects, right? So what kind of things he or she needs to equip themselves, like all programming languages or any one? Let's say if they come and ask you, an engineering student is coming and ask you, Sebastian, give me 2 things what I need to learn for me to work on Knime from tomorrow. So along with that, something like that. So what are those 2 things? Many things might be, but what do you think? What are the 2-3 things you would suggest?
Learn how to Google. So now, honestly, so let's really learn how to Google, how to look for stuff, to maybe think what else you could mean. It's not like just typing it, but you need to understand what you're really looking for. And besides that, I guess any programming language is fine.
Okay.
So because that's the beauty of Knime. You start with it, and then you get to know to the syntax because they use Java. This is JavaScript, I guess, language for the regular expressions, but there are some manuals in there, so you don't need to be a JavaScript expert before, so you just start walking. So, and to be honest, as I took some programming languages when I did my dual studies, but I'm more like, okay, I have a problem, I start working on it, I look what I need, and then I come to the point and say, okay, what else do I need? What is possible? So always ask yourself, is this what you did there maybe the best option, or is there a better one? And this comes really through iteration, that you start doing it and start walking.
Oh, cool. So, and how about data structures? Understanding data structures and
Well, then maybe database. Yeah, how's the relational database set up, maybe, and what is the key ID? I forgot.
primary keys and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah, primary
No
key.
problem.
Yeah, right. What is this? What is a left join? What is an outer join? What is a left outer join? What is a full join? So these kind of basic SQL things they would have.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
So no problem. So basically, how do you feel Alteryx as a tool is?
It's also good. So it's for example, let's say you, like you said, you have a database coming in, so then you have your columns. So Alteryx has a function of browse to, so that you can look through the data. So you have basic data mining. So you see what a type of what data type is it? Is it an integer? Is it a string? Is it a Boolean? And so on. So then you see what is the average value. For example, if it's an integer, what is the sum of the whole column? So you get to know your data a little bit. That's what I'm missing on Knime, for example. So they need to know how to define what is maybe the average, and maybe have a little bit interest into data mining, let's say it that way. But anyhow, so this there. When I compare it, so to our Knime always caches the data in between. So you let your workflow run, then you start working or continue working. So it takes the data from the step where you stopped last time. Now, Alteryx, you always need to run, or you have to cache the data, but which will be stored in the RAM. So, but small things. I mean, it's still good to go.
No, but these are actually very different things, how the architecture works, right?
Yeah. Right. But besides that, and they have a huge training and also a really huge community and a helpful community. So in each language. So, I'm from a German-speaking country, so which means there's also a German-speaking community, which is actually not as active as the English one, because the English one is the biggest one, obviously. But so what I want to say is that there's probably in almost all big languages a community there, and also meeting regularly.
Oh, cool. So, and with features between Alteryx and Knime, is there anything which you have come to a situation other than this caching part where you feel Knime is better in this case and Alteryx is better in this case, or you're still in the research phase?
No. So for example, if I have an iterative process, so let's say you want to subtract or you have a loop, from my point of view, you can do it in Knime much better. So because there you have the loop functionalities, and in Alteryx, you always need to build an iterative macro, which is sometimes like, okay, what do I need to do? And if you come from a programming perspective, then you know a for loop, right? So okay, how it works is, the concept is clear, and you can have multiple variables in a for loop, and this you can, from my point of view, do easier, more easy or better in Knime than in Alteryx. That's when I compare it that way.
Okay. So that's one. So you basically see wherever looping is happening, Knime is better. Okay. You see the other way around, somewhere Alteryx is better. One thing is, of course, the data mining aspect, what you said.
Yeah. Right. Actually, I found all the functions I wanted to use as well there. But actually, yeah, the macro stuff. So if you build some step you do very often, so like say you always calculate your fiscal year, so then you can build a macro in Alteryx, which is, from my point of view, easier to understand. I guess it's still also possible in Knime. I found it, but I didn't quite grasp the concept. It can be my fault, but in Alteryx for me it was easier to understand. But once again, this is like, how is the whole tool set up? You can still do a lot of stuff.
So I have a question going on while you're talking. So both Knime, of course, they both are enterprise ready, but with your experience, Alteryx can and Knime also, it's up to you because you based on the experience, what they can handle any amount of data, or data should be a limited. I mean, big data is not a problem, or no, it should be in chunks. How do you feel?
So Alteryx is processing the data row by row, basically.
Right.
Or record by record, let's say that way. So obviously, if you have more data, then it needs longer to process this, but it's just because of the amount of data. But I haven't come across the fact that either tool has a certain limit.
Okay.
So, but also what I looked up, it was like maybe billion records or something. So, I mean, to be honest, I'm more like maximum some millions, so it's not that much, but yeah.
But
so
row by row processing, is it like Knime is also row by row processing, or we do not have an idea? Yeah.
There I'm not so much into the technicals because an Alteryx was maybe just by chance that I found it out, because I was on an Alteryx Inspire conference in London in 2019. So when we were still allowed to travel. So and they wanted to know more about the architecture of the software, and they were saying, okay, how does it generally work? And there it says, okay, row by row or record by record. And for Knime, not sure if it's the same or not, but I guess it's nearly.
Because the way I'm going with all this, Sebastian, is like on an enterprise level, performance matters a lot, right? So and if with your experience, do you see both the tools performing on a similar fashion when the ETL process is done, or you feel like Alteryx might be a little slower or Knime might be a little faster based on your research or community, or it's just the same kind of?
Nearly the same, I'd say. So what I encountered. What really makes a difference is how you set up your workflow. So how you think about data structure. So how many columns or which columns do you really need? Do you really need all the rows? So for example, if you extract data out of a database, do I really need to extract like 1 million records and throw away half of it because it doesn't meet the filter criteria? Or can I use in database functionalities, or maybe also use a SQL statement placed onto the database, so that I only get half of the records I need, or from the whole set?
I think it's a very good point. So basically, you're saying that design thinking is very important. How do you design your workflow is more important. If you design your workflow with right elements, any tool should perform similarly better than this. I mean, if it meets your design, so I think that's a very good point what you said. So as a data engineer, everybody, I think what Sebastian said, there's a good point what we all can take, that do your design well, the data flow should work perfectly. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So if we walk again with Alteryx, so usually my workflows run in like at least below 5 minutes. So, and if I hear a colleague, so because usually I really like that I reduce the data extracts to a minimum I need really. So I can easily extract millions of rows as well, but it doesn't make sense if I don't need all of it. And for example, a colleague who had like a report pulling data for 10 years of sales orders, for example, it took like 2 hours. Then we went over it and did some performancing. So then it was like 20 minutes.
Oh.
So still long, if you want to say, but still again, so from 2 hours to 20 minutes. Yeah, I guess I don't need to calculate this now, but you see this is already in performance increase. And if you think about the server, which is running in the background, which is scheduled and has more and more users, obviously this already gives some more resources to other colleagues. So
correct. So the computing power can be reduced for sure. Right. So and the outcome was least is better. We use less elements as possible, and that brought down from 2 hours to 20 minutes, or there are multiple factors to it.
Yeah, so for example, one was to move some steps into in database so that you let the database do all the stuff, so that you do the SQL there and you don't do the join later in Alteryx stuff. Then simple stuff was really in SQL that you place the filter maybe 2 elements before. So just changing the order. So the logic was still the same, but you just said, okay, I filter before, then I join other stuff to it.
Okay.
But
so it's
that,
still
as said,
using still using SQL and putting in a proper design.
right.
So it again comes to design. So that design makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right. So I'll probably go to the end of the discussion a little bit. I think we did a lot of nice discussion here. So what are your learning goals? One aspect is that. What are your personal learning goals? And second is, if somebody wants to learn Knime, is it easy to download? You said it's already open source. And if they have any specific questions, can they reach out to you? So two questions. One, what is your personal learning goals? And second is, somebody else might have a learning goal of Knime. And if they're watching this video, they want to know something, get motivated, probably what will be the comments you give it to them. And if they want to have some questions, can they reach out to you via, of course, via the YouTube comments, and they can come back to you. Yeah. So these two questions.
So from Alteryx perspective, I'm already Alteryx advanced, so maybe expert would be one, but still need to learn a lot of things because they need to really, if you're expert, then you're really expert.
Right.
And for Knime, I thought about also getting there some certifications just to see really, that I have a better feeling, okay, am I on the same level there or not? Or do I need to do a little bit on Knime?
Correct.
So because you don't know where the future goes, but to know different tools, then you get a different view on some stuff and can learn from each tool what you can maybe improve in the other one because of just the way the other tool works.
Correct.
Second question, you can reach on LinkedIn if you want, Sebastian Kaltz, or reach out to you, and I guess you will forward the questions to me if I don't answer it, or I will answer it on YouTube. Let's see if I see it.
Let's see how it goes. So thank you for joining. I think we had a great discussion today. Any specific questions you have for me or for Sebastian, please put it in the comment section. I'll put a lot of good information notes and some direct download links, how you can download Knime, about the certifications what Sebastian spoke about. I'll put some information in the description also. Take a look at them. And thank you, Sebastian, for such a nice discussion. Hope we come back with the next video next time in a better way.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for having me. Hope so too.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.